it's kind of tricky to rehab. I've been, doing my research into how do you rehab an LCL.
Oh, I'm worried.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky. I haven't had the great track record with knee injuries, but I've heard the LCL.
So it's not an oil change.
This is not an oil change.
Got it. Okay. All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus channel, presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana with a veteran day off. Dan Fates, I'm Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. You know how much we appreciate it.
40K.
Yeah, we are closing in on 40K. Practice number 7 here at Fisher, which that means only a couple more left here. But the biggest news of the day, kind of the recap and the reaction to the fact that Maxwell Hairston avoiding the ACL tear, thankfully, avoiding major injury. The LCL sprain will be out multiple weeks, but a little sigh of relief for the Bills.
Anything that wasn't season ending, I thought was good news, and it was just the fact that the ACL is intact. It's an LCL strain is what the reports are. Buffalo Plus confirmed that as well. Look, there's two ways to look at this. The glass half full is that it is not an ACL tear. There is still the glass half empty that he's going to miss a lot of time. A couple of weeks is what the report is, kind of the guess. And it's valuable time for a rookie at training camp.
Yeah.
So like once I heard the news that it wasn't a torn ACL, I was like, awesome. And then it was like, still gonna miss some valuable time.
Yeah.
And the reason I say it is because it's like what happened to Cole Bishop last year. So Cole Bishop missed time last year at training camp with a bunch of lingering issues, and the team still talks about it. Bobby Babich was talking about it at minicamp, that like, this is so valuable for a young player. Now, Babich says they have a plan. He can go through walkthroughs. He can still kind of take those mental reps. But he stressed you can't simulate the physicality and nastiness of the NFL. So that, if you're happy, how is the play, Mrs. Lincoln? Is this the right time to use the analogy?
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's good news. There's bad news still just because of the time missed.
I think it's one of those things that, yes, once you get through in the initial, oh my goodness, it's not the ACL, which that is obviously the utmost fear. It's season ending. This rookie that you drafted with your top pick who has all the speed is going to be sidelined, the recovery process from there, and how do they look after that?
Yeah.
Okay, you turn the page from that, and you're right. This is really important, what they do here. I know some people it's training camp, what does it matter? But for especially a young guy, his first season out there, what do all the rookies say? Training camp is like trying to drink out of a fire hose. Like, there's just so much information, and to not be on the field, it really is tough. Now, like you said, they have a plan. What will that look like? It also, I think, depends on what kind of learner Maxwell Hairston is.
Yeah.
Is he a visual guy? Does he need to go through it? Like, some players, it is different, but obviously there is that aspect of not ideal.
And we think about training camp too, because Bobby Babich spoke earlier today, and the fact of, how well can you simulate the game speed and things like that? And he's like, it's full game speed. He's like, we tell our guys right now, you just don't take them to the ground. But everything else is 100%. So where I think there is this thought, and we even have it over the years, of like, oh, they're just kind of going through a practice. Like, they're trying to simulate game speed. He said, that's what we tell our players. It is 100% game speed. You just don't bring the guys to the ground. So that was telling to me, and that emphasizes the point of what Hairston will miss out on for the short time. Again, hopefully he's back for a preseason game, if possible. I don't think this is a rush along by any way.
Yeah.
Because of, one, he's a speed guy. Two, it's a knee. It's kind of tricky to rehab. I've been, doing my research into how do you rehab an LCL.
Oh, I'm worried.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky. I haven't had the great track record with knee injuries, but I've heard the LCL.
So it's not an oil change.
This is not an oil change.
Got it. Okay.
But I've heard it's kind of tough to isolate that ligament when you're recovering. So it is going to be a nagging thing. Now, Hollywood Brown had that last year. It's kind of some of those knee, you can't put a brace on it. He's not a lineman. It's a dynamic position. It will linger for a little bit, but I imagine it's eased along very gently.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that you are going to probably slow play if you're the Bills, because his speed is one of the it's his game. It's a part of that, and you don't want to have someone that can't have the ability to use that because it completely limits the player that he is. Let's talk a little bit about not even behind Maxwell Hairston, because obviously Trey White was getting a ton of reps, and I know we kind of mentioned this on our other podcast a couple days earlier, but like, I think Trey, the other guy's Dorian Strong. I mean, Bobby Babich even mentioned him. Dorian is going to get more looks because of this.
Yeah, guys, everybody loves depth until you have to use it. And we've talked about the wide receivers and Stephen Gosnell yesterday catching passes from Josh Allen or 2 days ago. So, like, it is going to be on display. And I always remember it's kind of like that when it was with Micah and Jordan at the safety position. They wouldn't show up to some of the optional, voluntary stuff. And sometimes you think about that like, oh, that's not great. But the coaches always saw it as an opportunity for other guys to step up. Bobby Babich talked about we have to persevere in the face of adversity. This is adversity for the defense, for the secondary, for Maxwell individually. And he's like, we got to persevere. It's next man up. We don't flinch.
Yeah.
So that's a guy, Dorian Strong, who's had a pretty strong camp, had a deep ball get by him. We talked about 2 days ago with Deion Kane. But big opportunity for him, big opportunity for a guy like Jamarcus Ingram, who was great last training camp. We all kind of liked him, has kind of been forgotten. I don't think he's fighting for a roster spot because of his special teams ability and knowing the system.
Yeah.
But it does put a lot of stress on some of those other guys, the Codringtons, the Hardys. Guys are going to get reps.
No, it's true. That is a very good point, though, of like the depth behind and what will that look like. But, I mean, Bobby Babich specifically saying Dorian Strong.
Yeah.
And a later draft.
Words are hard, Jenna.
Whoa, later round draft pick. That was bad. We had a day off yesterday, too. I mean, I did work, but, you know, we weren't here.
Other injury, too, to note.
Yeah.
Cole Bishop out again today with a quad injury. Not great. And I know sometimes maybe we overreact because it's in that moment today. It's like you're missing a day. We talked about all of the things with Maxwell Hairston, what he's missing. Cole Bishop missed a lot of this time last year at the same time. And now he's missing it again. And he had, I think it was a hip during minicamp. He missed the last week of there. So you just need this guy to be on the field.
Well, it's one of those things, too, where you're like, he's missing valuable time. And then with the amount of injuries that he has, he seems injury prone.
Yeah.
And that is something they talk so much in the NFL. It is about your availability. That is a huge thing.
Sean talks about that.
That is very important. And obviously a second-round pick. He was highly thought of, the talent, all this stuff. But you got to be out on the field as well.
Yeah.
More time loss, not great. We'll have to see the timeline for that. But having the quad, again, you say, the soft tissue, not ideal.
Keon Coleman had 2 nice reps. One with a fade in the end zone. Another one was a completely broken play. I think we'll probably see it as the Bills will tweet out a highlight.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll be close enough up that you won't see the whole picture. He caught a ball that nobody was on the same side of the field as him. It was a very easy touchdown, broken coverage in the secondary. But Keon, again, today felt pretty lax.
The whole pace of practice.
It felt like the whole practice was at half speed.
Maybe because it wasn't roasting hot. But no, I agree. It was definitely,
They did 2-minute drill stuff
Yeah.
at half speed, that kind of stuff. So you're trying to figure out, like I said, we're kind of sitting here recapping practice. That's what a lot of you guys come here to like, comment, and subscribe to. And it's like, wasn't a whole lot going on today at full speed. So it's kind of tough to balance that. I'm sure it's also because tomorrow is the red and blue scrimmage. So I'm sure that will have some more intensity at the stadium. But it definitely felt more like a lax practice. We will note, Dalton Kincaid had a rep against Damar Hamlin. We talked about who's behind Cole Bishop. Phenomenal rep by Hamlin. Just kind of blanketing Dalton Kincaid. Kincaid, after Josh rolled out, wasn't looking. Josh hit him right in the shoulder pads, but it was great coverage by Damar. And again, we haven't talked about him a bunch. He's been pretty solid. Like
I think he
he is Damar Hamlin.
Yeah.
He's exactly what you expect.
He gets so much hate.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's surprising.
You can do worse than Damar Hamlin as your third safety. I understand if you don't want him to be your starting safety, that's fine. But he's a guy that knows the system and a guy that Cam Lewis-esque just makes plays.
I could see that. Our pass catcher of the day, a guy that's gotten the opportunities with other players being out, has been Zach Davidson. I know I've mentioned him a couple times, but I just think that he's been able to, what do they say, stack days.
Yeah.
But that is important. We talked about Stephen Gosnell on Tuesday. On Tuesday, just like making the most of your opportunity and going from there. And that has been something that we've seen. So Davidson getting that today, which is pretty cool.
Talked to White Steve today.
Oh, it was great.
The nickname was passed on by Joe Brady. Khalil Shakir, big fan of Stephen Gosnell. And Stephen even said it was pretty cool to catch a touchdown pass from Josh Allen.
Yeah. Khalil Shakir told us that Steve was like,
I'm in the huddle with Josh
I can't believe
Allen.
I'm in the huddle with
Next
Josh
day he's
Allen.
catching a 50-yard bomb.
But yeah, the moment he's embraced it.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way. So that's cool.
Other wide receiver note, Josh Palmer was, I wouldn't say limited. He never went to the medical tent. Was definitely favoring something with his leg, hip, something in that area, but he didn't really go through any team or individual drills today. Just something to keep an eye on.
Josh had a nice touchdown to Christian Wilkerson.
Yes. Who was mixing it up with everybody.
Yeah.
Taylor Rapp, DeMar Hamlin. That was probably the most intense part of practice.
Yeah.
Was those guys kind of going at
Which
it.
was fun to watch. That also brings up the new dude of the day.
Dude.
Larry Ogunjobi had a couple nice plays, would have ended up in a couple sacks, it seems like. He's someone I feel like we obviously have talked about in the offseason, but now that we've been at camp, hadn't really seen some flashes, so today kind of saw a little pop from him.
And I wonder how that is working through with the rotation, because Michael Hoyt and Ogunjobi are kind of working in with the twos. Obviously, we've talked a lot about TJ Sanders. We've talked a lot about Deion Walker, guys that are flashing maybe a little bit more, and we've said, too, like, we are victim to, like, first team's not in there. All right, now we can look down at our phone. But I've seen Hoyt and Ogunjobi running more with the twos. But it's part of the plan because you have to bring them along because they're going to miss the first 6 games.
Yeah, those suspensions. So it makes sense to me. But that was someone where I was like, oh, Larry Ogunjobi.
Yeah.
Okay, I see something from him today. I'm trying to think if there's anything else you want to talk about.
The reaction and the comments to the Brandon Beane interview are phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, very cool.
Very cool to get to also, I know a lot of people like the behind-the-scenes look at Hard Knocks was really kind of cool.
Yeah.
But really appreciate all that. If you haven't seen that, that was put up on Wednesday, our sit-down on the patio with Brandon Beane.
Yeah, I want to shout some people out. Mike talked to a guy, Carl, from South Carolina. He was there with one of his sons, or there with his son.
And
very cool.
And a kid saw me in the tunnel before autographs and said he was a fan. And I'm really bad with names, and Mike isn't. But if you're the kid, nice to meet you.
I had 2 fans with me today. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah.
My parents.
Val and Ben.
I say, Val and Ben, shout them out. They were here at camp. It was so cool. Like, I joked it was bring your parents to work day. But
you took them everywhere.
I honestly did. I probably shouldn't have. But it was really
Jenna
fun,
Cottrell.
and it was amazing. And, you know, they live in Saratoga, so for them to come out, shout out Frank Loricella, who hooked my parents up with the tickets. So it was really cool, and I always love having them out here. Yeah. It's a special experience, so I know they really enjoyed it, but I really appreciate them coming out as well as Frank, so that was really cool.
Red and Blue scrimmage is on Friday. Obligations, we will not have a recap video from Friday. If you go there, that's great. Enjoy it.
Have fun.
It's a really cool experience. We've covered it a bunch of times. We will be back Monday with recaps. Sunday with a recap.
Yep, because we don't know what day it is.
Nope.
That's fair. Today's Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunday we'll have, the Bills will be back here at Fisher, so we'll have that going on. It's a little bit of a later practice, so we'll get the video up a little bit later just because the practice starts a little bit later. But all good stuff. Please be sure to check out all the previous videos we do, as well as like, comment, subscribe, share. Check out the audio podcast. Find us on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, on
content.
Yeah, so much. We really appreciate it. We had a lot of fun. For Mike, who is not here, I am Jenna. That's Dan. Once again, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We will catch you next time here on the Buffalo Plus channel presented by Connors and Ferris. And thank you so much to everyone who subscribed. It means a lot. And shout out my parents because I love you guys.